now I'm going to talk like a pastor, but it feels like a calling into really a completely different life that you're now in. What did those people in this life, when you said, no, believe it or not, this is kind of what I'm doing. Tell me what that sounded like.
There were certainly the nicknames, you know, the Bible thumper, you know, the goody two shoes, the, oh, here comes Matt, Mr. Popular, you know, there was certainly all of that stuff. But in a lot of ways, at the time, I was so good at blocking it out. I think the hardest part was there were a couple very close friends of mine that I knew I probably had to go different ways with. And there was pain and hurt in that, I would say. But at the same time, there was so much excitement going on in my life down this path. I mean, there was so much inspiration. I mean, you know, you're meeting people who are changing the world. Right. You're being asked to do TED Talks, and next thing you know, you're talking to, you know, the Dalai Lama's translator, and all of a sudden I'm like, screw that, where you guys can say whatever you want about me, because over here, this is good. And I miss the music, because music is just special. And I miss being in recording studios and watching musicians lay down their tracks, because this is something that blows my mind. But this life, the life that you live, the life that at this conference at Q, like, it's a pretty good place to spend your days.
You know what, though, in a different way, you're not asking me to help you with this, but that whole creative thing that happens in a studio, the inspiration and really the creation of something new that brings beauty into the world. You do see that on a regular basis. The inspiration and the creation of things that are new beauty in the world, in a school system, in a prison system, in a corporate office where things are beginning to happen. It's not as, you know, we can't all listen to it together, you know, we're not going to download it, but it is happening.
It is happening. I feel like though as much as I see beauty, and there is a ton of beauty out there, and sometimes for me it happens in the smallest of moments. You know, people ask me, oh, Matt, you were just on the Today Show. Was that like one of the highlights of your journey? No, it wasn't. It was the woman who pulled me out after doing a corporate keynote and said, I think God brought you here today because I was going to kill myself tomorrow.
Yes.
It's in those moments, right, that there's the beauty. Unfortunately, though, I feel like on a larger, grander level, out in the world, we see more ugly today than we do the beauty. And that, to me, is heartbreaking. At the same time, maybe it's that athlete, I don't know, it also drives the heck out of me.
Well, I think I'm glad it does, because I feel like, you know, we can kind of break one or two ways on that. We can be overwhelmed, we can give in, or we can see a unique opportunity in our generation to actually just do things differently.
100%.
And I do think that whether it's an office, whether it's a school, an individual starts to consider some of this, they do stand out.
Yes.
They're different.
Yeah, absolutely.
A little bit of light really does, you can see it in very dark places.
And I think, though, that the best thing that I can do, the best thing I think that you can do as a leader, right, as that person that you're on the stage, right? And it's funny for me because I used to manage people that were on the stage and work for the ones on the stage. I was never on the stage. And now, my new life, I'm the one on the stage.
How about that?
Right? It's pretty interesting. The more that we can make it, though, not about, don't go try to be out on the stage, try to be on our stage. The more people we have out there in the little ways that they can do it, that are true to themselves, bring this sort of message to the world, it's far more than I can do by myself or you can do by yourself, right? And so it's the more people we can touch to do these little changes and these little actions, that's really how you start to change the fabric of our culture.
Yeah. And if there was anything that you would say to, a man or a woman in a position of, by the world standards, check, it's still Sunday night. It's still, they still think they got it going on. What would you say to them? I mean, they haven't woken up to that Monday crash yet, what would you say to them?
I think the biggest question I would ask them is to give a real honest answer to what matters most to you. And if you probably looked at their calendar, you could probably tell what matters most to them just by looking at their schedule. And the second question I would ask them is, if someone were to ask you, why do you matter? How would you answer it? And the answer to both of those would be very telling. And from those answers, I could probably tell where things are headed.
You could tell what Monday's going to be like.
So my new book's coming out in February, which is my personal story, right? And the stories of people along the road. And I feel like more and more as this book is getting ready to come out, I'm getting pulled in more to this, this mental health, place of, because for 10 years now, I've been a guy who has stood on stages and sharing the ugly underbelly, right? I've shared the brokenness. I've shared all this stuff. And there's not a lot of men out there that are willing to share that.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
And it's ego and it's pride and it's all this stuff. Even if we know it's wrong, we're still not going to be honest about it. And so
that's what's so healing to hear guys like you and Scott Sauls talk about things and go,
Scott's awesome.
Yeah, well, it's really healing for you guys to do that.
We have to, because
it's healing for someone like me to go, oh yeah, I'm not going to always hit the peg, and I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, we don't. And that's just life, right?
That's being human.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't warn us about everything when we're younger, but you know what? It's not always pretty. It can be pretty messy.
Yeah.
And beautiful at the same time.